Hey, welcome back to the channel, my fellow weather junkies. I'm your host, Greg Majeski, your personal weatherman, bringing you the weather without all that social media hype here on your Wednesday, September 18th, 2024. Let's go ahead and take a look at your latest weather headlines here for today as we're looking at some more plains thunderstorms. Had some pretty robust ones yesterday that were coming out of the Rockies into the plains, and I don't think it'll be quite as active as yesterday, but it's going to be around, and we'll show you the specifics on that. Definitely a weird looking weather pattern over the next 10 days. A lot of small systems. You just kind of get the feel that we're making that transition. You know, fall officially beginning on September 22nd. We'll break that down for you as well. And then we're going to talk about the latest on our tropical potential system going into next week for the Gulf of Mexico. The track may have shifted just a little bit. We'll talk about that in greater detail here in just a second. Now, before we get going, first, I do want to thank the new subscribers to the channel. It's always great to see our numbers going up, moving in the right direction. And if we want to have a successful program, we can't do it without your help. So please consider hitting that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you're alerted on future content. And if you like this report, please give me a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, as it does help with the YouTube algorithm. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the latest satellite imagery here across the country. I guess your eyes are immediately drawn to this bad boy, a little low pressure up here toward Montana this morning, seeing the swirling rain stretching back here toward Kansas. We'll show you some of the rains there in central Kansas here in a second. Leftover tropical moisture and stuff here moving up toward New England. It's going to be kind of a rainy, damp day in New York City here for today. Across the south, really, got some lingering clouds here that should burn off here a little bit later this morning, but generally quiet here across the south for the most part, all the way to the southwest. A little disturbance out here toward California, moving in toward Nevada. But otherwise, not really looking that bad, except for the areas here in the middle of the country where we kind of got the clash of air masses that are going to be going on for some more thunderstorms for today. Here's our surface map. Again, you can see that's definitely very cool out here in the west, unseasonably cool with below normal temperatures out here, especially for the interior sections here in Nevada, Utah, and into areas of Idaho. Seeing some 40s. Here's a 34. Wow, that's chilly there. But relatively mild here in the middle of the country. And again, a little damp and rainy there into the northeast for this afternoon. Looking a little damp there. All right, here's our current watches and warnings. We're quiet here for the morning. We had some watches out here earlier yesterday. Now we're going to see the middle of the country kind of get on the action with some severe weather, some severe thunderstorm watches possible there with that. But other than some, some foggy conditions here and there, otherwise looking pretty quiet. Even got look at that, you got winter weather advisory out here in California. Yeah, you know that transition's coming. Winter weather will be here before you know it. All right, let's look at the latest local Doppler radar here. We're looking at the Wichita Falls area here, or Wichita, Kansas, I should say, not Wichita Falls, Wichita, Kansas. Here we got some rains here coming down here. Going to be moving through the area here in the next couple of hours there. Maybe a rumble of thunder in here, but shouldn't be too bad as it continues to move off toward the east at about 25 miles per hour here for this morning. Now, our weather city of the day, New York City. Yeah, a little damp. The city never sleeps here. The Big Apple looking damp, little dreary out there for this afternoon. We're going to call for rain likely for today. High temperature right around 76 degrees. Good shot there of the Brooklyn Bridge. Hey, and if you'd like to nominate your city as the weather city of the day and you happen to have a good webcam in your area, perhaps on YouTube or some other source, take that link, post it down below, and we'll use it for a future broadcast. All right, now shifting gears here as we take a look at the latest from the Storms Prediction Center so we can kind of see what the active weather is going to be here for the next 3 days. So we're talking about Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday here. We're looking at your day one outlook here, and you can see where our storm systems here is moving here in the middle of the country there. We do have a little area there of yellow that indicating slight risk for some severe weather there. Just a general thunderstorm threat here across the mid-Atlantic down toward the south, and we got a little pocket out here in the west out toward California and Nevada here for today. Let's break it down by the categories. Let's take a look at that. The tornado threat, we got a little small area, so we're only talking about 2% here, folks. Not very high, but they're generally sitting there right through Minnesota, maybe right along areas of the Dakotas, right through there, Nebraska, maybe a little sliver of Iowa. So it's a very, very small pocket, to say the least. The hail threat, they're generally going to sit there where that slight risk and the marginal risk kind of lining up there. The marginal risk, that's where the wind threat will be running about 5%. That's going to be for your hail and your wind both. They're identical. So this is your hail threat here and your wind threat, not a change difference. So they're both the same there going in for this afternoon. Watch out for a few thunderstorms around that big low that we were showing you there, as that's kind of moving right along the Canadian border. Let's look at your day two outlook here. Going to day two, that kind of shifts into areas toward Minnesota and Iowa, a little more robust looking area zone to look forward to right through there as we go into your Thursday. As that front continues to plow into the warmer air ahead of it, Again, just general thunderstorms here across the mid-Atlantic, still a little bit out here in the west and South Florida as well, looking at that activity. Let's break that down as well. Looking at the tornado risk here, running a little bit higher for tomorrow. Expected there across areas of Minnesota, predominantly running about 5%. That's the area there in brown, and the green stretching down toward Kansas. Hail threat, they'll be the highest up there as well through areas of Minnesota. So Minnesota be on alert, especially heading in for tomorrow on your Thursday. And of course, that's where the higher wind threat will be in that same zone. So basically, we're talking about those areas around Minneapolis and stretching down toward Iowa, getting pretty close to Des Moines. How about that day 3 outlook? Finally, looking at day 3, kind of settles down just a little bit. You're just looking at that general thunderstorm threat here across the areas of the Great Lakes, stretching back here toward the middle of the country, like that. A little bit across here, across the areas of the southeast from Florida and the Georgia coast, and again, the interior sections here across California and Utah have to deal with it there as well. Now, as far as excessive rainfall is concerned, not really that big a deal, just a pocket there across areas of Montana today with that big swirls going on. But other than that, that's it. In fact, the day 2, day 3 outlook not showing anything of significance as far as getting too much rainfall out there. So some good news in that front. All right, again, recapping that severe weather threat here for today. We're talking about Sioux Falls, Norfolk, Nebraska, Brookings, South Dakota. That's all in that slight risk, and that marginal risk is going to be for Omaha, Lincoln, heading down toward Lubbock, Texas, Fargo, North Dakota, and St. Cloud, Minnesota, in that marginal risk for severe weather for today. All right, now it's time to go ahead and shift out into the tropics. Let's take a look out there. We got 2 areas of disturbed weather. That one that's out in the middle of the Atlantic, that used to be Gordon. If it does reform, it'll retain the name Gordon, by the way, just so you know. And it looks like it's got a 60% chance to redeveloping, becoming a tropical storm again out there in the middle of the Atlantic. Of course, what's of more pressing concern is this area down here in the Caribbean, okay? That's showing a likelihood of development here of about 20% over the next 7 days, and just kind of waiting for something that hasn't quite yet formed. The pressures are falling out in the Atlantic overall as we're seeing a little bit of a global pattern shift taking place here. So again, we'll see how this kind of transpires here as we go into next week. Again, this new hazards outlook here from the global outlook here showing a big bullseye showing up there right in that area where we're expecting that development, sitting at about 60%. So it's just a question of once it develops, where exactly is this thing going to go? It has changed a little bit in the model data here as we go in through the next several days. The next named storm will be Helene. Yeah, that one that was off the Carolina coast that was kind of a hybrid system, never officially got named. So the next named system will be Helene as that system moves in. Again, looking at the satellite picture out there right now, it's looking pretty quiet out there. We got the remnants of that tropical system sitting out here, actually just to the south of this other little area of disturbed weather here to the north. But what we're waiting for is for something to form right here. Not seeing any big thunderstorms out there currently, but that is expected to change as we go toward next week. That is when we're expecting things to start turn interesting. Now, the update here from the European ensembles, again, we got 2 things that we're kind of watching, obviously. We're looking at their areas there here in the Caribbean. We're watching this area here. And then we got another pretty good sizable wave here coming off the African coast that we're going to have to watch. What's interesting here compared to what we were seeing yesterday is the fact, and let me go to my interactive mode here. I want to go ahead and freeze this here. And we'll stop this on the last image here. Is the fact that the track seems to have shifted. It was kind of clustering in the eastern Gulf. Now it's kind of looking more toward the central portion of the Gulf of Mexico that we're kind of watching. So again, anybody along the Gulf Coast from Texas over to Florida here needs to pay attention to next week. The other thing I am noticing here with all these ensembles is that none of them, at least on this particular model, is taking it up to hurricane strength. Tropical storm, yes, but don't know if we're going to get a hurricane out of this. I think it's possible. Definitely a lot of latent heat out there. It's just a question of whether the conditions are going to be really super favorable for us to potentially see anything become a hurricane at this point. But right now, I would say the odds are not looking too great that we're going to get a big storm on this. We're just going to have to wait and see how that works out as we go into next week. Now, the latest model ensemble here as far as tropical depression development. Okay, this is the latest on this. I do want to show you this as we shift over to our model data now. Again, you kind of seeing that bullseye there kind of highlighting where we expect the tropical depression here to form. Once it does, which way does it go? Is it going this way? Is it going to go this way? Or is it going to split the difference and go up the middle? You saw the models are kind of all over the place here. So we'll need to watch this closely as we head toward the end of next week, as that's when I anticipate us dealing with some sort of tropical system. Most likely will be Helene. There's a question mark on, does this thing become a hurricane or not? So stay here for updates, and I'll keep you apprised of the situation with the tropics. All right, let's go and take a look at the global pattern here as we're going to shift over the continent of the United States and Canada. We're looking at the river air known as the jet stream. That's what drives all the weather systems around the country from west to east as we look at things progressing. I'm going to take this up to about 8 o'clock. Again, you kind of got this lingering storm system here that's kind of kicking out. That's what's setting up that active weather here in the middle of the country here. Been active weather track here out toward the west. And a little bit quiet there in the east for the most part, outside of that tropical system that was kind of stuck there for a few days as it was kind of lingering out, kind of moving up into New England. So again, you got that one piece of energy kind of moving up toward the Dakotas. Then we got another piece of energy here swinging out here back toward the west. This is going into your Friday. So we're going to have active weather here. I think we get a bit of a break on Thursday, and then it probably picks up again heading into the weekend. As remember, the day 3 outlook was kind of showing not expecting any severe then. Then I think it's going to pick up as we head towards Saturday and Sunday. As this piece of energy here rotates out of the Rockies here. So as this piece rolls on out heading into Saturday and into Sunday, that will need to be watched closely to see if we get anything in response to that energy kind of ejecting out there. And then it's just kind of, again, a convoluted flow. That's why I say it's kind of weird to see this kind of this pattern like this. I mean, the jet stream's kind of doing this kind of number. I mean, it's just very progressive. A little early to see that. You know, it looks like a little cutoff low here across the southwest. That'll need to be watched here as well. This is going into next week. And then obviously, with a trough like this going toward next week, it's going to act as a bit of a magnet. If anything tropical comes up, it's going to be kind of pulled northward here in some form. Although, like I said, the European model is not really going crazy with this system right now. And then this thing pinches off. You got a pinch off low there. You got a pinch off low there. Again, I was kind of illustrating the fact this is a little bit weird. Look at it, get low. Got a pinch off low here. The jet stream kind of pinches off some energy. The main flow comes there to the north. So this is going toward the end of next week. So when I said weird pattern, I wasn't kidding. And that's going to be some forecast challenges, to say the least, going into next week because of that look right there. So let's go ahead and take a look at the precipitation. We're going to go ahead and take you through this here as we're looking at the latest here on the 0Z run here. Again, we're looking at the storms here across portions of Minnesota here going forward late this afternoon. So we're going to be watching that area here again for the severe weather here right through there. That's what we're tracking here for your Wednesday going into Thursday. So this is actually going into Thursday here, I'm sorry. So again, your Wednesday, here's the Wednesday activity right along the borders there, and then shifts over to the west going into Thursday. Going to Thursday afternoon, watch to see how that develops there for the afternoon and then settles down. Friday, definitely very quiet. Look at most of the country. Friday, still got some rains there across portions of New England, up toward New York and over toward Massachusetts and down through New Jersey. A little rain over the Great Lakes, but most of the country pretty quiet here throughout the day on your Friday. Just kind of your garden variety little thunderstorms here and there. Then we're going to watch to see how that next piece of energy responds as it comes on out here, going into late in the day on Saturday. So we'll need to watch this closely, see if any of these things potentially pocket isolated severe with that bit of energy, as I'll show you there in the upper levels, kind of ejects on out, and then that moves on into Sunday. You've seen the active weather there on Sunday here throughout the day, across areas in Nebraska, Iowa, and into Kansas as that kind of moves on out. Going into the 23rd. And then as we go beyond the 23rd, then we'll see that energy kind of go across the areas of the Great Lakes as we go into your Tuesday. You see the rain kind of moving up into there and a little bit of wet weather out there across the southwest. But then we're going to start looking out toward the Gulf. Then what the European model is doing with the tropical system again is developing something that is going to be a little bit further south. It's actually going into the Bay of Campeche. And if the European is here, it's going to bring this thing right into Mexico. All right. Now, it's a question of timing. Everything's about timing when it comes to this kind of stuff. So if those features that to the north act like a magnet, it depends on when this thing forms. Does it get pulled northward with that system that's there in the middle of the country there, kind of, not middle of the country, really kind of the Midwest, stretching into the southeast? We'll see how that works out. But right now, the Europeans developing something maybe taking it into as a depression or tropical storm into Mexico at this point. Subject to change. We're still got 10 days out on this, and it will change. I promise you that as we go through the next week. So as we get closer to it, the errors will go down and we'll get a better idea on the trajectory of that system. Rainfall amounts, those are looking pretty robust here. Let me make sure I'm on the latest and greatest here on this one. Again, going here for the next 10 days, you kind of see some pretty good rains here, especially across the middle of the country or across portions of Colorado, Nebraska, going through Minnesota, especially with those hefty thunderstorms through there. Obviously still dealing with that heavy rain threat across portions of Montana, kind of lingering from today with that precipitation there. And then we'll see what happens here out here in the Gulf. Well, it's showing a lot of moisture down there, that's for sure. It's this question of where's it going to go? Where's it going to go? Is it going to flow into the continental United States, or is it going to stay well off toward our south? So stay tuned for those updates. Let's talk about temperature, shall we? Let's go ahead and take a look at the latest temperature on this. Let's go ahead and look at the kind of the swing of the temperatures here. We're looking at the 850 anomaly map here as I'm going to back this up. And you notice here in the west, boy, do we have some big time anomalies out here in the west. Just seeing abnormal, below normal temperatures here throughout the day, and that is going to be quickly coming to an end. That's good news there as far as if you like warmer weather, because we're definitely going to get that. That is for sure. So I'll make sure I'm on the right thing. Here we go. So let's go ahead and track this again as we go forward here throughout the rest of the week here, Wednesday and Thursday. You notice that blue is hanging on there across the west, that's for sure. Nice and warm there in the middle of the country. Abnormally warm temperatures here across the middle of the country. That'll continue for as we go toward the end of your week. So we're going toward Friday at this point on your Friday. And let's go track this through the weekend. And we got a little cold shot. Got nice little cool temperatures there across the upper plains. So we get a little bit of a cooler weather here across the Rockies and there across portions of the Dakotas and up toward Minnesota just briefly. It's not going to last very long, but it's just kind of progressing with that storm system that's kind of tracking there. And it quickly warms up. But boy, it's really warm up in Canada. Hello, look at this. I mean, very warm conditions expect that way right now heading into the middle of next week. A little bit cooler out here in the southwest thanks to some clouds and some precipitation there. And as we go to the end of this run here on your anomaly map here, again, it's pretty much stays kind of quiet. Depends on where those little, remember I showed you all those little cutoff features here, and that's what these little pockets of these blue are, kind of keeping the temperatures down just a little bit. Very, very warm here across Canada, that's for sure. Anomaly running very, very high right now. So with the main jet stream kind of cutting off and those little features kind of cutting off, again, weird pattern. I do think this is probably going to change, especially looking out the 10-day. To see that many cutoff lows is going to make forecasting a bit of a challenge every day, because depending on where those things kind of set up, and again, the timing. All this is about timing. Tropical system, cutoff lows. We got a very weird weather pattern again to watch. So expect the dominoes to change and the dominoes to fall going into next week as we go ahead and wrap up the month of September. It's definitely going to be a bit of a forecasting challenge. Now, because of all of that, I do expect we're going to see some changes on the climate outlook. Now, this is the latest here on the climate outlook here. Again, showing most of the country with above normal temperatures expected here from the 23rd to the 27th. Near normal because of cloud cover and rain here along the east, but to the bulk of the country here looking with above normal temperatures. And this continues the 25th through the 1st. But again, with those little pockets of cutoff low feature showing off there, that might impact this map here from the overnight model runs. Again, this was produced yesterday, and we'll see if this changes anything. But the overall theme for the rest of the month of September, although the first half was a bit on the cool side, the second half is definitely seeing a trend toward warming and above normal conditions. Of course, tropical, we're talking, and we're going to get anything down here or not. We'll see. Heck, if this track shifts this way, then maybe it lights up over this way. So this is probably subject to change here, the 23rd to the 27th. And again, the 25th through the 1st, most of the country, wow, just very looking at below normal chances for precipitation here. Staying a little bit here on the East Coast, looking with above normal precipitation here. Again, potential tropical influences expected there. All righty, well, that is your update here for this afternoon here on your, well, heading toward this afternoon, I should say, as we're wrapping up I can't believe we're already the 18th of the month. You know, we're getting ready to start fall. That is on the 22nd. Looking forward to getting to the fall season, and then we'll see how the rest of the hurricane season, as well as maybe that secondary severe weather season, which sometimes happens in the fall, especially as we go into the month of November, to see how active the weather's going to continue across the country. And if you'd like to get these daily reports in my shorts in your YouTube feed, I'd appreciate your support for the channel. Again, just hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you're alerted on future content. And if you got a comment, you got any feedback for me, always happy to answer any questions. Just post it down below and I'll get back with you. All right, that's your update for now. You guys take it easy, be good, stay safe, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now.